Hi everyone, welcome to our Bible study, and at this time when we're restricted to our homes, we're going to take a look at a series called Holy Habits, and to tie in with that today, we're going to have a look at a holy habit that Jesus built into his life, and one which we should look to include in our own lives. I've been a Christian for 40 years and still have not embedded this in my life, so now with more time on my hands, I've been challenged to have a fresh look at having a Sabbath day each week, thanks to Carol and her reading of this book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. The biblical basis for a Sabbath day is undeniable. In Genesis 2 and verses 2 to 3 it says, "By the seventh day God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day he rested from all his work, and God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that which he had done." And also in Exodus chapter 20 and verse 8, part of the Ten Commandments, it says, "Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labour and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God." It's interesting to me that the Sabbath made it into the 10 Commandments ahead of prayer, Bible study, and even going to church. This shows that the Sabbath is an anchored discipline of the people of God, and it's so crucial that God lovingly included it in the commands to remember to rest. It's also interesting that God blessed the seventh day and made it holy. In the Genesis story, 3 things were blessed: animals, people, and a day. And when God blesses, what he's doing is he's imparting life-giving capacity. So he imparts to the Sabbath life-giving properties. God also makes the day holy. By this he was saying something quite remarkable. At the time, if you wanted to worship your gods, you went to a holy temple or a holy mountain or a holy shrine. Here was God saying, to worship me, you spend time with me on the Sabbath, a holy day. So there is a day that is blessed and holy, a rhythm in creation, 6 in 1. And when we tap into this rhythm, we experience health and life. So what does a Sabbath look like? Sabbath is not the same thing as a day off. On a day off, you still work, although not for your employer. You're still doing your chores. You do DIY, clean up around the house, perhaps go shopping, pay your bills. You might go to the cinema, you might play football, or go cycling. We all love a day off, but it's not the same as a Sabbath. So on a Sabbath, all we do is rest and worship. And they are broad categories. My Sabbath might look very different from yours. It's anything which allows us time to reorient our whole life towards God. So resting might mean appreciating the moment, or going for a walk and appreciating all the flowers and trees and plants and animals, and giving thanks to God for his creative hand in creating those. For our it might mean spending time with our families or our friends, maybe having a meal with friends. It's anything that helps us to rest in God. For worship, it might mean singing songs, it might mean reading your Bible, it might mean time in prayer, it might mean going to church. It could mean reading a book about deepening your relationship with God. So rest and worship is whatever way is life-giving for your soul. take time to just be with God. The word Sabbath comes to us from the Hebrew word Shabbat, which means literally to stop. So Sabbath at its simplest is a day to stop. Stop working, stop worrying, stop wanting. Just stop. But Sabbath is more than just a day. It's a way of being in the world. It's a spirit of restfulness that comes from abiding and from living in the Father's loving presence all week long. It was woven into Jesus' life and weekly routine. And the writer of Hebrews in chapter 4 and verse 11, when writing about the Sabbath, calls us to make every effort to enter into that rest. There is a discipline to the Sabbath that is really hard for a lot of us. It won't just happen to you. It will take planning and preparation, self-control, to say no to a list of other good things that could be done on that day. But Sabbath is a primary discipline or practice by which we cultivate a spirit of restfulness in our lives. Walter Brueggemann said, people who Sabbath live all 7 days differently. So if you adopt a Sabbath day in your lifestyle, expect it to change you every day. The best endorsement for Sabbath comes from Jesus himself, when he said, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So after 6 days, God rested. Perhaps we should too.